Mr. Jones.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much, and this has been a great panel. Thank you all for being here today to share your knowledge with those of us in the Congress about this very, very important issue. My question will deal with the bilateral strategic agreement that this nation is trying to sign with Afghanistan and their leader at the present time, Karzai. I know there's supposed to be an election forthcoming in Afghanistan. The people in my district, the 3rd District of North Carolina, the home of Camp Lejeune Marine Base, 60,000 retired military, do not understand the stupidity of this policy in Afghanistan. On the 30th of January in the Washington Post, and I'm sure you probably read it, after billions in U.S. investment, Afghanistan roads are falling apart. I have met with Douglas Wissing, who wrote the book Funding the Enemy. We did a press conference with him, as a matter of fact. John Sopko has testified at the subcommittee level many times about the waste, fraud, and abuse. The New York Times on January the 30th, U.S. aid to Afghanistan flows on despite warnings of misuse. With the knowledge that you have to share with us here today, the Taliban, it's my understanding that a nation like Afghanistan that has fought the foreigners for many, many years, including recently before America, the Russians, they, right or wrong, seem to want to have the country that they have, whether we want them to have it based on their culture or not. My question to you, in behalf of the people that I represent, if the President does complete this agreement, that we have roughly 10 more years of America, which is financially broke, we will soon be debating on the floor of the House an increase in the debt ceiling. The last time I voted for a debt ceiling was in 1998 or 9, and the debt at that time was $5.6 trillion. It is now over $17 trillion. If they raise the debt ceiling, it'll either be $19 trillion or $20 trillion, and we will continue to borrow the money from foreign governments to pay Karzai. My point is that, knowing what you know that I don't know, how in the world can our nation, in such dire needs of its own, try to reach a 10-year agreement to continue to fund their needs so they can blow it up? In my opinion, the Taliban do not want America's presence. Now, if you get into Al-Qaeda and these other jihadist groups, I really would like for you to just speak specifically to the sanity of 10 more years of spending money that we do not have, with almost no accountability. And as John Sopko said, the waste, fraud, and abuse is worse today than it was 12 years ago. Would you speak to the sanity of my question and the sanity of a policy of what we're trying to do in Afghanistan? Thank you, and I appreciate if each one could share your opinions.
I think that's a very, very good question. I don't see this in terms of black and white. I think the work that John Sopko and his organization has done, the light they've shined, is useful. I would just bring you 2 points. One is I think there has been a fair amount of money that's been wasted, American taxpayer money that's been wasted for the wrong purposes in Afghanistan. But I would just argue that there continue to be threats from some groups to the U.S. homeland. We've had 2 major groups plotting attacks from there, Al-Qaeda and the Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan. U.S. citizens in the region, including the Haqqanis and Lashkar-e-Taiba. So I don't think what that means is we walk away. What I would argue is we've got to be a lot smarter in how we spend our money and the size of our force presence there so that we can continue to deal with those threats without the waste and corruption that we've had over the past several years. I do think there are ways to do it.